Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sam and I am going to be doing an unhaul video. I mean, you clicked on this video probably for something to watch in the background. So yeah, I'm going to be doing an unhaul of all the books that either don't bring me joy anymore, or I just don't want anymore. And it's because they were becoming a bit of a fire hazard, because I've been piling them up next to my bedroom door and it's getting increasingly harder and harder to get in and out because the stack just keeps growing as I DNF things or I just decide I don't want things anymore. So I thought I'm about due an unhaul video, and they tend to be quite popular with new viewers. So if you are new, like I said, please subscribe, like, stick around. I do lots of book talks and book videos and vlogs. So yeah, I hope to get to know some new people. Anyway, enough of the mushy stuff. Let's get into the unhaul video. I have different categories. I have books that I've DNF'd. I have comics. I have books where I've got different formats, books that I really liked but want to let go of now, and books that I hated. So I've kind of sorted them into different piles and we're just going to go through them. So yeah, if you're watching this in the background whilst you play a video game or do some cross stitching, or you were actually watching what books I get rid of, then yeah, I'm happy you're here. So yeah, let's get into some books. I'll try not to ramble too much in this video. So the first segment that I have is my comics and graphic novel that I'm going to be getting rid of. So the first one I'm getting rid of is The Assassination Classroom Volume 1. This is about an alien that comes to Earth, and his one demand is that he's given a class of students to teach, otherwise he'll destroy the planet. So all the governments try and put an assassin that is a child assassin in his class, and their aim is to take him out before he destroys the world. And it's a really cool premise, and I read it and it was good, but I don't think I'll read any more because it's one of those stories where I just feel like it's gonna get repetitive. It already felt a little bit repetitive within this volume itself. Then I'll be getting rid of the BL Pink Heart Jam Beat, and this is about two boys that are already in a relationship, but they're going through a rocky time, and to kind of sort it out, they kind of look into bringing back their university band, or like one of them has a university band and the other one really wants to see it. And I think there was a series prior to this one with these characters like falling in love, so I felt a bit out of the loop and I just didn't really connect with the characters, and I didn't really care either. They were all kind of a little bit flat. So yeah, I'm going to be getting rid of this. Then I'm going to be getting rid of the All You Need Is Kill manga. Now, if there is one book in this video that I might change my mind on, it's this one, because this was the first manga that I ever read, which is, now that I say it, makes me again want to keep it, but I need to get rid of it. And I'm never going to reread it. I don't care about the story. It's basically a war between humans and aliens, and these soldiers find themselves trapped, reliving the same day. And yeah, it's my first manga I ever read, but I didn't really care about it anymore. I don't really remember much about it, so I should get rid of it. I should get rid of it. Then I'll be getting rid of The Astonishing X-Men Gifted. This is one of the Ultimate Graphic Novels Collection series, which is a series of comics, I guess. They basically collect different issues of kind of a story, and they put them together into these hardback volumes. This is number 36. There's no specific order really. Like the next one, I believe, is another X-Men, then there's one about Hulk, so it kind of just brings different Marvel comics together. This one follows the team of X-Men. In this particular team we have Emma Frost, Wolverine, Cyclops, Kitty Pryde and Beast, and maybe some other characters show up as well, and it follows them trying to sort out the dubious cure that has been created by nefarious purposes. And yeah, it was really good, really enjoyed it, but I have 2 editions of it because I bought a bunch of these from the charity shop and didn't realise I already had this one. So I'm going to get rid of a copy. Then I'm going to be getting rid of the V. Schwab comic series, The Steel Prince. I have actually already sold these on Vinted, so I need to get these sent out. But yeah, I think my V. Schwab era is not over, but not as high as it was when I first started kind of bookstagramming and stuff, and you would see all of her books, and she is such a good writer that they just keep coming out as well, and they are consistently good, but in my sense I kind of either like them or don't. These comics I did enjoy when I first read them. They're like a prequel series to A Dark Shade of Magic, one of my favourite trilogies by her. By trilogies I mean I really enjoyed the first book. The other 2 I couldn't care less about. But I did like these, and the art when the characters are using the magic is really cool, but I've had them for years and I don't need them anymore, so I'm going to gently put these down because I've sold these. Then the last comic that I'm going to be getting rid of is a independently published one by a small indie author, and that is Blakemore's The Body Thief Saga. Now I'm getting rid of this one for 2 reasons. The first reason is just the general, like, I just didn't connect with this story. The characters felt flat. It kind of started in media res, but never really developed after that, because it was just constantly felt like you were supposed to know who the characters were and their connections to each other. It was kind of, it treated it as if it is a given, but I was like, this is the first time I've ever met these characters. Who are they? What do they do? What are their flaws? What are their like pitfalls? What are their relations to each other? How is that interacted? How has that been formed? There was no development of the characters, and there was a very kind of simplistic plot to it. And I just didn't get into it. And this is like a bundle, so there was an extra one, and the art just really dropped. So the author that I met in Comic-Con when I bought this was lovely. Really enjoyed him. He was great. He employs someone in the Philippines to do the art, and he does the story, and he was there with his wife, and they were promoting it, and they made it sound really cool. And unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype. And the other reason that I'm getting rid of this is because the author, like I said, he's a lovely guy, but on his Instagram, he started to like really push AI and like AI versions of his characters. Like, he's obviously putting them through AI to bring them to life into these AI animated scenes, and it just doesn't feel right with me. I don't like AI. And seeing that, and there's a specific actress, I can't remember her name, but she was in Deadpool 2. She's about to be in They Will Kill You, and she was just in Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Don't know her name, but here's a picture of her. And you can tell the AI is using her image for the main character for his book. Not this main character, a different main character. Every time I saw it, it just creeped me out. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. Next little stack that I have here is books that I've got in a different format or a better edition of them. So I'm going to speed through these. So the first one that I have is 1,000 Splendid Suns, and this one follows women in Afghanistan. It's an amazing novel. It was, I can't remember what number it was, but it was in my best books of 2025. Love it. I got a nicer edition. This one is very beat up and faded by the sun, and I found a nicer edition in a charity shop, so I have just replaced it. And this one is going to go to the library that I work in, because I want to push this on other people to read. It's amazing. Read this book. I'll be getting rid of Mindbreaker. This is the sequel to Mind Walker by Kate Dillon. And I went to a Chloe Gong signing. Kate Dillon was there. I didn't realise she was there, so I obviously didn't have this book with me, and I rebought it so that she could sign it. So I had 2 editions now, and I'm going to get rid of the unsigned one. This is about like AI and dystopia future and fighting against the machine. Getting rid of a translated fiction novel, The Full Moon Coffee Shop. My mum gave me the paperback version because she also had it, and I would rather read it in paperback than hardback, especially for such a small novel. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this one. Be getting rid of Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I already have another edition of this one. It's signed and it has my annotations from when I read it. And this is just one that I bought in France when I felt like I needed to buy a book. And I bought this one because it had a different cover, but that's the only thing different about this one. Like, if it had extra content, maybe I'd keep it, but it doesn't. It's literally just a golden cover, and it's not even that interesting of a cover, so I don't need to keep this. If it was in French, maybe I would have kept it, because I like to have like a souvenir book from places I go written in the language, but it's in English, so there's no reason to keep it. Getting rid of Heartstopper because my friend gave me her signed first volume, because I didn't have this. I have the signed 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but I didn't have the first one signed, and she gave me hers. Then we're going to get into some books that I didn't particularly care about or like. There's only a couple here because a lot of them are in the DNF section, but these are the ones that I actually finished. So I'm going to be getting rid of Killjoy by Holly Jackson. This is the prequel book to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I've not read that trilogy, but I have read the prequel, and it was just kind of, yeah, didn't really care about it, don't really remember it. It was just a group of friends playing like mafia, like a murder mystery. And this is the World Book Day edition as well, and it's now been published in the traditional sense as well. So if I do end up loving the trilogy and wanting to reread this one, I'll just get the actual book version of it. I don't need this little version of it. Then I'll be getting rid of Red X by David Demchuk, and this is a novel set in Canada. I read it when I was in Toronto, and it was just boring. It basically follows the string of murders of gay people in Toronto, and there's like a supernatural element to it, but it was so kind of disjointed that I just didn't particularly enjoy it, and it was just not a fun read, and it became a slog to get through. So yeah, I don't need to keep this anymore. I'm going to be getting rid of A Darkling Plain by Philip Reeve. This is the 4th book in the Mortal Engines series about a dystopian world where cities have taken to wheels and hunt each other in the wasteland of the world. And I did a series review on this one, so I won't tell you much. You gotta go watch the series review I did of this. But my basically sum up thoughts is I don't think this one needed to exist. It was stretched out for no reason, and basically by this point all the interesting characters were either completely changed from what they originally was set up to be, or were dead. So yeah, I don't think this was a necessary addition. It could have ended at book 3, so I'm going to get rid of book 4 because I don't care. Then I'm going to be getting rid of Sociopath, which is a memoir by Patrick Ganji, and this basically is written by Patrick, who says that she has a degree in sociopathy and psychology and stuff, and she believes that the definition that they have for a sociopath is actually something else. It's not what the definition at the minute, that's for some she believes is reference to something else. So she kind of talks as a sociopath herself about her childhood and how she experienced emotions differently. Like, it wasn't that they lacked emotions, it was that their emotions built up in a different way and it found its release in different ways. And to begin with, I found this really interesting when she was talking about her childhood and seeing a child experience this form of life, like breaking into houses and stuff like that. But I kept expecting for her to go deeper and to explain this a bit more, since she has like a degree in it, and it just never really did. It was just her talking about her life and all the bad things that she's done and trying to excuse them because of the way her brain works, but it never really talked about why she thinks she feels this way or why she feels like the definition is wrong. There's a little bit of a touch when she starts university, but it never really goes into the depth that it promises, and it was just kind of a letdown, and I don't really particularly feel like I need to keep this one. The last one is The Zoo by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. I could think we can assume Michael wrote it and James Patterson put his name on it, and helped with the story. But I read this one because I was a huge fan of the Zoo TV show. I know how cringe it is. I know what a bad TV show it is, but I was obsessed with that when I was growing up. I've constantly like rewatched it when I was younger. And just it's set in a world where animals turn against humans. There's like this disease or like this genome change in the animals, and they start seeing humans as the enemy. And this is the basis of the TV show. So I thought I'd read it and see how different the show took things. And the show, so much better. This book was terrible. The show changed a lot of things, but the core kind of themes were there. Obviously, with the animals rebelling and other than that, basically everything was changed. The show is so much better. Watch the show. This book is rubbish. Like, for example, the main character is so stupid. Like, he has a pet chimpanzee in this book, and for some reason, even though he's all this experience and this research into animals turning against humans, he never once thinks that his chimpanzee will turn against him. So when he gets home and it attacks him, he's like, oh my god, what's happening? And I'm like, dude, this was your whole shtick. This was your whole shtick that you were trying to argue that. It was rubbish. It was terrible. I don't know what I was expecting from a James Patterson, but yeah, watch the TV show. It's cringe, but it's fun. Then I have my little cull of my translated fiction. We've seen one or two of them appear already, and they might appear in other stacks, but this is kind of like the just general, like, my cull I did. So the first book you'll recognise if you watch my best and worst books of 2025 video, which is The Murder at the Black Cat Cafe. I really did not gel with this book. I read it and that was that. I don't really remember much about it, despite the fact that the main gripe that I had with this book was that it repeats itself. So it tells you the story from like the investigation side of things, and then you get halfway through and then it kind of has a reset and it starts from the beginning again. Not to add any different context, like it's not one of those novels where it's from the detectives and then it swaps to the killer and you see what the killer did. No, it's still the detectives. They just repeat themselves in the past tense and was like, this is what we did. And I was like, why have we started again to say the same information we already knew, just to kind of like recap to the audience what the audience had already seen. Like, it was like if you were watching a movie and halfway through the movie it cuts black and then immediately started just playing the movie again. Like, it was pointless. I hated it. It was a waste of time, so I'm going to be getting rid of that. Then the next translated fiction that I called was I Want to Die, But I Want to Eat Teriyaki, and this is a kind of memoir, but it's kind of about the conversations that the author had with their psychiatrist / therapist about the title issue, about wanting to die. And it was just a bunch of conversations between her and her psychiatrist and about life. And it was interesting. It was okay. It was a quick read. I just read it on the bullet train, and I think I like finished it after like a day. But yeah, I don't really feel any need to keep it. It was okay. I would recommend it to people if it's what they were looking for, like a conversational style book. But yeah, it didn't really hold any weight to me. I don't feel the need to keep it. And I'll be getting rid of 3 books by the same author, which is The Days at the Murakami. I'm stumbling over my words, sorry, dyslexia. The More Days at the Murasaki Bookstore trilogy. I don't know if it counts as a trilogy. These 2 are like direct sequels, but this one is like its own thing, but still within the same universe. I didn't read this one. I read these 2. They were incredibly dull. I constantly find that when I read books about bookstores or book lovers, the love of books never really translates well into books, if that makes sense. So this one just felt, when I was reading it, incredibly dull. It follows a woman whose her boyfriend has just cheated on her, and they work in the same kind of building, the same kind of department. So she just wanted to get away from that. So she goes to live in her uncle's bookstore, free of charge, as long as she kind of looks after the bookstore and runs it for a while. And we see her doing that and kind of getting over it and interacting with different people. And it's just incredibly dull. And nothing really happens, and it's just kind of a slice of life novel, and that doesn't always gel with me. I think some people may love these ones, but they weren't for me. So I read both of these, and both of them were just unremarkably boring. And then I just thought I may as well get rid of this one. I've not read it, but I've hated it. I didn't like his other 2 books, so I'm not even going to try with the 3rd one, which is unfortunate because this one is signed. So I'll just memorialize the beautiful signature on this video before I get rid of this book. I'm going to be getting rid of The Strange Weather in Tokyo, which I DNF'd. It's about a woman creating a bond and a relationship with a very much older man, and they make a bond, I think it's over frogs or snails. I think it's frogs, and they like go frog hunting and stuff like that. And it was strange. It was set in Tokyo, and I didn't like it. I DNF'd it. It was boring. And I'll be getting rid of Idle Burning. This is a really short novel that tries to tackle a huge idea. Now, the idea is to look into fandoms and how fandom culture can become obsessive. And this basically follows a fangirl whose idol gets cancelled because he abuses a woman. But this fan can't accept that, and she's still obsessed with him, and we just kind of see how she justifies what he did and stuff like that. And it sounds really interesting, but the book doesn't give itself enough time to fully digest and to explore that idea, and I find it particularly annoying because I had a friend in uni that did a dissertation on this exact topic, not within the K-pop world, but on like just fandom and looking at specific ones. And it's just such an interesting topic that I feel like this book really did itself a disservice with not fully exploring. Like, this could have been like a 200, 300 page book, and it isn't, and it didn't, and I don't really want to keep it. And then I'll also be getting rid of another bookshop book, which is called Welcome to the Hunamdong Bookshop. This is a Korean novel with such a beautiful cover. Like, it looks so cool. But yeah, again, boring. Nothing happens. It's just a slice of life, but the life isn't interesting. Oh, I've dropped it, sorry. Then the last 2 translated fictions that I'll be getting rid of are more Korean novels. These are the Dalagut Dream department store books. I have the first one and the second one. I read the first one, didn't particularly like it, so I don't see myself reading the second one. This follows a woman called Penny who goes to work in a department store that sells dreams. It's very like surreal, and it's a novel that's basically all vibes, no plot. There is no plot. You follow Penny as she talks to different customers and different workers, and they discuss different dreams, and it's all vibes, no plot. If that's what you want, this book would be great for you, but for me, it was so boring. I did not like it. I only finished it because I felt like I had to. I'd committed. I had to finish it to at least get my money's worth out of the first book. So yeah, I'm going to be unhulling those. Okay, and then my next stack is a stack that feels bad. It's a stack where I have done some self-reflecting and have found something that I need to improve in myself, which is whenever I go to a book signing and it's like a multi-author book signing, I tend to feel bad and end up buying the book of the other author just to get it signed. Just because I feel like if I don't, then I'm going to go to the table, I'm going to talk to the author that I'm interested in, and the other one's going to be sat there probably disappointed, and it's just me putting myself in their shoes unnecessarily, and perhaps feeling things that they don't really care. They are just there, they'll sign books when they come, they don't care if you don't have their book, but for some reason every time I go I feel like, oh, but I have to buy their books to at least support them and like have them there. And now I've had enough of that. I need to change that in 2026 if that's one thing I'm going to look into, because it's a waste of money, because I end up buying all these books that I'm never going to read. I've tried to read a couple of them just to get into them, and I'm just like, these aren't books that I'm interested in. I would have bought them if I was interested in them, but instead I've bought them because I felt bad for the author, even though the author didn't really need me to feel bad for them. But they got the money out of me, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to let these ones go, and that's going to be that. I'm not going to waste any more money. I'm going to get the author's book that I want signed, and I'm not going to buy extra for no reason. I'm not wasting my money anymore. So yeah, let's speed through these. So I'm going to be getting rid of The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. Sorry, Mike, but it didn't really appeal to me. But thank you for being lovely and signing my book. I can say that for everyone here. Apart from this one, actually. I'm going to be getting rid of Fallen Feathers, which is kind of like a sapphic spin on Good Omens. The author, she wasn't particularly nice. By the time I bought the book, there was no interest in me. She seemed like she had somewhere better to be, and then I already paid, so I was kind of, I'd already picked up the book, so I felt like I had to pay, but I was like, actually, should I just put the book down? You seem like a bit of a mean person. But that's just my interaction with her. I'm sure she's lovely, but that was the impression I got when I was interacting with her, that she could give less of a shit. But yeah, I don't think I'll be reading this. Then I'll be getting rid of Death Plus 70, another one that I got at Comic-Con. The author was absolutely lovely. I've kept her other book, which I'm more interested in, because it's kind of like a spoof on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, whereas this one is an anthology. I tend not to get along with anthologies. I get annoyed because their stories are so short, so you get invested in one, then it ends, and you can like, I want a whole book of this. That seems to be an issue throughout this video, is me wanting books to be longer. But yeah, I don't really get on with anthologies, and I do like a good end of the world book, but I tried to read a couple of these and they're just not, they're kind of like goofy, and I don't really want goofy. They're trying too hard to be dark, and I wasn't interested, so I'm going to get rid of that. Then I'm going to be getting rid of Eleanor of Aquitaine. This is by Alison Weir. I went to this with my friend because I felt bad because I dragged her to so many signings, and then this is the one signing that she's ever asked me to go to, and I was like, well, I can't really say no. So I found this in a charity shop for £1, and I was like, oh look, there's the author I'm going to go see on Monday. And I got the book and I got it signed, but I don't really need it, so I'm going to send it back to the charity shop, I guess. And the next ones are all from the same signing. It was like a panel, and there was like a particular book that I went for, and then I ended up buying all the other ones as well. So the first one I have is The Changing Man. I really want a younger person to have this rather than me just hoard it and never read it. Same for these ones. Vampires, not a big fan of vampires. This is Mina and the Undead, and then the sequel, Mina and the Slayers. This is about set in New Orleans, which initially was really interesting. But yeah, I don't really care about vampires, and I don't really want to read YA vampires. If I'm going to read about vampires, it's not going to be YA. And these ones I do want to commend, because the commitment to the bit of like being dark, moody, scary books, they have dyed the end of every single page like grey to make like the spine look like, they've not just like gone half-assed and sprayed the edge black, they've done it on every single page. You gotta commend the commitment. That must have been expensive, but these are some cool books, so I hope again someone else finds them and really enjoys them. And I'll be getting rid of 2 books by Laura Stephen. This is The Society for Soulless Girls and Every Exquisite Thing. One of these, I think this one is kind of a Dorian Gray retelling, and one of them is about like magical girls in a school or something like that. I don't know. I tried to read, I think it was this one, the Dorian Gray one. Didn't really care about it. It didn't hook me. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of these. Okay, I'm sorry, it's getting increasingly darker. I'm filming in front of the window and it's 6 o'clock. So sorry about that. I left this bit late. Hopefully you can still see me. But the next ones I have are all, oh gosh, I'm dropping them. All books that I did really enjoy, but I just don't feel like I need to own physically anymore and take up room on my bookshelves when I could get other books. So the first ones are the trilogy called the Brown Sisters Trilogy by Talia Hibbert. Let me just sort them out. But yeah, this is the Brown Sisters Trilogy. You have Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and At Your Age, Evie Brown. These are really good romance novels. If you are a romance reader, I would definitely recommend these. I enjoyed them, but it's another case of like I've read them and I've just forgotten every single thing that happened. I remember in one of them she meets him by hitting him with her car. I think that's the first one, and then she has to kind of look after him because she feels bad and wants to repay him for hitting him with her car. And in another one, I think they work. Again, I just can't remember. So I don't want these to take up room on my shelves when someone else could enjoy them, because I know they are popular for a reason. They're really good. I definitely recommend these books, just not ones that I'm going to keep. I'm going to get rid of the Bird Box book. It's another case of, I feel like a traitor saying this, but I preferred the movie. It's more dramatic with Sandra Bullock, and yeah, I like the movie, and then I read the book, and it was a really good adaptation in terms of like, it's really similar to the book. But I don't feel any need to keep it. It was there. Getting rid of the Warrior of the Wild. This is a really good YA novel with a good subversion, and it's set in a world where there's small communities that are kind of trapped in place by this magical being, and you fight to see who's the strongest, and if you're weak in these trials, you get sent out to fight against this magical evil, and that happens to be the chief's daughter, and that's who we follow in this book. And it's a really good subversion. It's a really good YA novel, and I want someone else to appreciate this one. It's also signed with kind of your basic ass sprayed edges as well, so it's quite a nice book as well. So I hope someone else likes this one. Then I'll be getting rid of Rainbow Milk. This is about a male prostitute, and it was okay. I guess it was an interesting look into that profession, but didn't really, again, say much about it. It kind of got onto a few different tangents, and I got a little bit bored, and yeah, it felt like a slog to get through, but there were some really good moments. Rid of It Looks Like Dad, which is a book I bought at the Tiny Ghost, or the Little Ghost bookstore in Toronto, which is like an all horror bookstore. Really enjoyed it, so I feel really bad getting rid of this book. But it's another book where it was too small. It was too little. It's literally 100 pages, but it tries to tackle such huge concepts. There's like parallel Earths, body swapping creatures, there's assassins hunting our characters down, there's world-ending threats, there's demonic presences, all in 100 pages, and it tries to bite so much of the cake, but it can't fit it in its mouth. That's not a saying. Why did I just say that? But yeah, it tries to do too much, and it fails on all accounts. The characters never really get developed because we have so many of these huge things trying to be set up, but the characters kind of fall by the wayside, and it was disappointing, and it's sad, and it makes me sad to look at this book. Despite how beautiful it is, it just makes me sad because I'm like, there was so much potential, and if this was a good like 400-page sci-fi novel, it would have been brilliant. But you decided to publish too soon. It felt like you were just publishing your like notes. Then I'll be getting rid of the Partner Track. This is about lawyers and love, but also not. It's really good. I really want to watch the Netflix adaptation of it. But yeah, I enjoyed this one, but I don't feel like I need to keep it. It's another novel where I read it, really enjoyed it, forgot everything that happened. Then I'll be getting rid of Chuck Tingle's Camp Damascus. Although I might put this back on my shelf. I'm not 100% sure yet, but at the minute, I'm saying it's an unhaul, but it might end up back on my shelf. This is about a sapphic love story set against a horror background. There's a conversion camp. You can't trust anyone in the town. You can't trust anyone. And it gets dark, and it's really good. It's a really good horror, but I don't remember it. I have such a terrible memory, it seems. But I remember the main plot beats, but I just don't remember enough love about it to keep it. Getting rid of The Road, which is like a classic dystopian end of the world walking through the apocalypse novel. It's father and son walking through a wasteland that is left of America, encountering different dangers such as just general survival and also other human beings that have turned savage. It's a good novel, very dull, very draining, but that's kind of the intent of it, which I think is brilliant. But I just don't need a physical copy of it. I'm going to be getting rid of Ace of Spades, which I adore. when I read it. It was brilliant. It has a brilliant subversion. It's about two school kids and they are getting targeted by this mysterious troll who is threatening to release like sensitive secrets that they have, and it extrapolates to such a huge extent. There's an explosive finale. It's really good, but I don't feel like I need to keep it anymore because I've read it and I don't think I'll ever revisit it, but I would definitely recommend, but I don't need the physical book to recommend it. I'll be getting rid of The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is probably the only Nicola Yoon book that particularly caught me. It's a love story that was never meant to be or never had the chance to be, and it's really cute. I'm starting to change my mind. This is a hard section for me because I'm just like, actually, maybe I will keep it, but you'll see in the future if I do. But you can take it as an unhaul for now. But yeah, I just feel like, again, I don't need to own it to recommend it, and also I'm never going to revisit it, so I should probably just let it go. Then I'll be getting rid of the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black. So we have the Cruel Prince, the Wicked King, and the Queen of Nothing. I expected this trilogy to be trash. I expected it to be like Actor, where everyone builds it up, it's got so much hype behind it, but it was gonna be bad. And you know what? It was a little bit bad. It like romanticizes bullying a little bit and stuff like that, and terrible behavior between spouses. Like Carden and Jude should never have got together or never have had a love story, but for some reason they decided to go that route, and I didn't particularly like that. I would have preferred it if they stayed enemies or like at least begrudging friends, but they had a romance for some reason, which kind of ruined it for me. But it was a really brilliant example of world building. I think Holly Black, that is one of her strong suits by the themes of it. She creates a really imaginative and immersive world. You don't want to question it, and it's a lot better than I had given it credit for. So I would recommend it if you're interested in reading it. If you've ever had the thought of reading it, definitely try it. It's worth a try. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Then I'm gonna get rid of I Guess I Live Here Now, which is about a girl who lives in New York, but then her mum decides to up and move back to South Korea. I think it's because her dad's ill or something like that. Don't really remember much about it. It's really similar vibes to XOXO, which I prefer a lot more. And I just feel like I don't really need to keep this because I don't really remember much about it. Getting rid of Tomorrow was one of my favorite books, I think, of 2023. It's about video game developers, and just kind of a slice of life view of them trying to get their game made and get a game published and be successful. The only thing that kind of makes me doubt it is that it has this really beautiful signature and beautiful cover, and it's one of the first books that I bought in Barnes & Noble when I went to New York, and it has like a little bit of a sentimental attachment that I think I can get over that. Last one from this section is Better Together by Christine Riccio. If you don't know, she is a booktuber, a booktuber that I grew up with, watching her videos. She was so much good, and she still is so much good, and she's still publishing books, and this is her second novel after Again But Better. I think out of the two I've read, Again But Better and this one, it is the stronger novel. You can tell she's worked on her craft and she has become a lot more skilled as an author. There's a lot more like in-depth character work in this one rather than the first one, where it was very much like a self-insert novel. And it's about two sisters that never knew about each other until they bump into each other at a summer camp, and there's some kind of magic where they swap bodies, and they decide to experience each other's lives and get to know their other respective parent. And it was a really good novel, really fun, but I don't really want the hardback copy. If I am going to keep it, I would get the paperback at some point, but I probably won't. But I'm going to get rid of the hardback because it's so big and it's taking up room on my shelves. Okay, so I have two little sections left. This is all the books where I have given up reading them. I've either owned them for just so long that I've never actually given them a chance. So when am I ever going to give them a chance? I should just let them go and let someone else have them rather than hoarding them. And yeah, I'm just going to fly through these ones. So I have a collection of essays about the Rick Riordan verse called Demigods and Monsters. A bunch of different authors talking about different ideas about Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series. So you have like, would you want to be one of the Artemis's hunters? Which Greek god makes the best parent? Why do so many monsters go into retail? And I've always been intrigued by it, but I just have never picked it up. And I just think out of all the books on my TBR, this is never going to be at the top. So I should probably just let it go. Then I'll be getting rid of 928 Miles from Home. Really sweet novel about a boy that wants to make a film. I remember reading half of it and then I never picked it up again. And I just kind of forgot to go back to it. Maybe I'll try and read it before I fully unhaul it, but I don't need to keep it. I'm going to get rid of Havenfall. This is about, I think, a pub between worlds, or an inn, I should say, between kind of magical worlds, and things start to go wrong or something like that. Always owned it, always been intrigued, but not intrigued enough to keep it at this point. I have The Hand of the Sun King and The Woman on the Edge of Time. This is a sci-fi, this is a fantasy. I got these in a blind book date things, a date with a blind book, no, a date, a blind book date. I don't know how to word that. I don't know. It's not really what I was wanting. So I'm going to be getting rid of these. Then I'm going to be getting rid of Across the Void, which was kind of the Works purchase. The Works is like a bargain store in England that sells books as well as like craft and toys and stuff like that. And I got that there because I needed like 3 for 2. And this was one that I picked up. It's a sci-fi novel about a woman stuck in space, and the only person that can help her is her ex-husband. And I read the first couple of pages and I wasn't really vibing with it. So I'm just thinking, it's time to let it go. And there's The Rig, which I've owned through multiple houses and multiple decades. I am never going to read this book. I need to let it go. It's so chunky. It's taking up space. I keep looking at it, and every time I look at it, I feel regret, and I don't want to feel like that. So I'm going to get rid of this one. It's about, I don't know, but it's going. Then I'm going to be getting rid of The Flowers for the Algernon, which is a classic sci-fi novel about like a really smart mouse, and just the formatting of this book, it's one of those books where the text is like really bold and small, and the letters are all fuzzy, and that is not working with my dyslexia. I'm so sorry. If I'm going to read this, it's going to be either via audiobook, because I cannot read this text font. It's really hard. It just blurs together, so I'm gonna have to get rid of this one. Then The June Boys, another one where every time I look at it, I feel regret for not having read it yet. I have a really good Bookstagram picture for this book, and I've just had it on my phone for years because I'm always like, I'll post it when I've read it. I'm never going to read this one. I need to let it go. It's about a bunch of boys that disappear. Every June, a bunch of boys disappear, and then like one of them, they get to die and they're found dead, and then one of them gets out alive or something like that, and it's about the investigation behind what's happened to them. It's just, I'm not a massive thriller reader. I tried to read this one, got bored. I'm never going to actually finish it, so I need to get rid of it. And then on to my last section, which is all the books that I have DNF'd either this year or last year, and that we're just piling up on top. There's 4 stacks of them here, so I can't lift them all up like I've been doing with the other ones. So let's just speed through these and get to the end of the video. First is a box set, which is the George Orwell's books. This box set includes Homage to Catalonia, 1984, Animal Farm, The Road to Wigan Pier, and Down and Out in Paris. Now, I really wanted to binge all of George Orwell's books because I've since previously read 1984. I read it for university. I have a different edition of it that's outside of this collection, which I'm keeping. Heavily annotated. Love that book. Really, unfortunately, telling to what's happening right now in the world and how the world is going about mass surveillance and the dystopian world of control, and the panopticon system of governance and stuff. And Animal Farm I've also read. I don't own another edition of that, but I might have to go get another copy of it because I need to sell this as a set anyway. But those are the 2 that I read fully, enjoyed both of them. But Homage to Catalonia, The Road to Wigan Pier, and Down and Out in Paris, all 3 I tried to read and I found incredibly boring. They're more autobiographical about experiences within George Orwell's life. Like, I believe Down and Out in Paris and London is about him experience being homeless and stuff. The Homage to Catalonia is him being a soldier in Spain, and The Road to Wigan Pier, I can't remember what that one was, but they're all kind of autobiographical and they're all kind of boring, and I never finished them, so I'm just going to get rid of this box set and buy another copy of Animal Farm. Then I'm going to be getting rid of the Magisterium series. This is a collaboration between Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. Holly Black has previously been on this video as the Cruel Prince author, and Cassandra Clare is the author of the Shadowhunter series, if you are trying to place those names. But the Magisterium was their collaboration. It's kind of a spoof on the Harry Potter series / a bit of vibes from Percy Jackson, and it's a YA, it's not even a YA, it's a middle grade series about a trio facing dangers, going to a magical school, the Chosen One prophecy, all your kind of typical storytelling devices are in this series. And I was going to do a series review video on these, and I read the first one and I was immediately like, actually no, let's can that video because this is not happening. I was so bored in this book. It started off really interesting, the subversions of the chosen one not being the main character and the main character being revealed to be something else, and it had some really good points and some really good moments and some good spoofs on the Harry Potter thing. Like, you think going to a magical school is going to be so magical, but they end up doing different tasks like moving sand and stuff like that, and the main character goes into it as well being really anti-magic school because of what his dad's taught him. So it's a good kind of twist on that story, but not enough to keep me wanting to read, and I'm gonna let go of this series. And also the main trio felt no connection between any three of them. They did not feel like friends. I did not feel them building any friendship either, so I'm not interested. So I'm not gonna force myself to read the rest of the series. Then I'm going to be getting rid of a recently popular book series or book trilogy called The Captive Prince. There is The Captive Prince, The Prince's Gambit, and The King's Rising. This is a novel about a rival prince from a different land going to this other land and being used as and it just kind of romanticizes weird and the character gets, and it's grim, and I just see so many people like fangirling over it, and I'm like, but it's kind of gross and it's kind of not very cool. I don't understand what part of this book people are enjoying. Is one of those. I like the cover art on them is beautiful. The cover artist is talented as fuck, because these look brilliant, but the content of these books is just not that great, and it's another kind of ACOTAR feeling for me where everyone's romanticizing it and loving it, whereas I'm like, this is kind of crap. So yeah, I'm going to be getting rid of these. Hopefully I can sell them and get my money back, basically. Then some more DNFs. Oh, for The Captive Prince, I read the first book. I've DNF'd the rest of them, similar to Magicerian. Then the next book is the most recent DNF that I've done, which is S.A. Cosby's Blacktop Wasteland. Now, Razed by Your Tears, I think, was my favourite, if not second favourite book of, I think, 2023 or 2024, I can't remember. So I had high hopes going into this book. I wanted to binge the rest of S.A. Cosby's books, and this was where I started, and I got halfway through and I was bored. It's like about a diamond heist or something like that in revenge for something that happens at the start of the book where there's like a fake stick up, and I don't know, it was kind of boring. I just couldn't see myself finishing it. Then I'm going to be unhauling the short history of the apocalypse. This is kind of a satire on the dystopian world, the dystopian novels. It's basically like a textbook of the apocalypse, talking about how the apocalypse happened, different things that have happened in the apocalypse, but it tries so hard to be funny. Like, every single page, it feels like the author is trying to make you laugh. And I love the like effort that is put into it, and I love the thought of trying to make your reader laugh on every page, but it gets so exhausting when every single page. So this book basically is a lot of just hyperbole. It's a lot of hyperbole and extenuating things to like ridiculous levels to get a laugh out of you, like Zendaya becoming a warlord and stuff like that. And it just tries so hard to be funny that it's not funny, or at least it doesn't match my sense of humor. It doesn't pique my comedy feelings. I don't laugh at it. I was just reading it like, I guess that's funny in the idea that would never happen, but yeah, it was trying too hard to be funny, and I just didn't gel with it, and I'm really annoyed that I'm gonna have to get rid of this one because it was quite expensive. It was like $16.99 for a flipping paperback. So yeah, unfortunately I couldn't read that book anymore. Like, it was not for me. Then I'm going to be unhauling a really popular sci-fi book called Gideon the Ninth. I think this is a book where I'll revisit it in like another decade because I know it's really popular. I really want to enjoy it. It's about necromancers in space. It's sapphic. It just sounds so brilliant. But when I read it, I just didn't really click with it. Didn't really want to finish it. So maybe in the future I'll buy another copy and get back to this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll be getting rid of A Magic Steeped in Poison. I bought this at the airport in New York, so a little bit of me again. My hoarder tendencies sneaking in. I'm like, oh, but it's got a sentimental reason to keep it. Like, you bought it in this place. I've got other books from New York that I actually love, so I don't need to keep every single book I bought in New York. This is about magic and tea and poison, I guess. Not interesting. Okay, apologies for that, my phone died, so you're going to get shaky cam, inverted Sam for the end of this video. So the next book that I'm going to be getting rid of is The Diviners by Libet Bray. This is set in like 1920s New York, and there's like kidnappings and supernatural stuff and divinations, I don't know. But I started this and I just wasn't vibing with the atmosphere. I didn't really like that time period setting, and I didn't really care about the characters, and it's so big that I didn't want to just commit to it for the sake of committing to it. You know, I wasn't feeling it. I've got things to read. Then I'll be unhauling a Georgian novel, Hard by a Great Forest. I really wanted to love this, but I didn't. It's set in Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, and there's a bunch of zoo animals have escaped, so they keep cropping up through the novel, but in no significant way to the point where I got. Maybe they do in the end bit. And we follow a man going back, and he is looking for his missing father slash brother. Like both of them, they're not the same person. And yeah, I just lost interest. I really wanted to like it, but I did. Then I'll be getting rid of Vox, which is a dystopian novel about women being given a word count, and if they go over it for the day, they get electrocuted. A really cool premise. I think this story would have been really cool from a different POV though, because it's very much like a diplomatic revolution rather than like a fight back revolution, whereas I feel like it warranted a fight back revolution. I would have really liked that, whereas this one, it was she just, I don't know, the main character was getting to things so easy. Like she was just chosen out of like the whole population to be the person that was chosen by the government and stuff like that to deal with it. And I was like, I don't know, again, I would have liked it from someone else's POV with a bit more like action. There wasn't much action, so unfortunately getting rid of this one, but it had potential, and I think it's cool if that's the kind of thing you want to read. Then I'll be getting rid of Treasure Island, and it is a Treasure Planet because I read this because I really liked the Treasure Planet film. I loved it as a kid, and I really wanted to read what it was obviously retelling, which is Treasure Island, the classic pirate novel, about finding treasure and deception and betrayal. And I was bored. I didn't gel with it. Bored. Then I'll also be getting rid of the classic Day of the Triffidads, which is about plants coming to life and killing humans. And this is another one where the print is just a little bit too hard for me to read with dyslexia. Like it's too like pitch black fuzzy writing, if that makes sense. And also I wasn't gelling with it, and I had a flick through and read a couple of the end pages and was like, yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that good. Then I DNF'd A Tempest of Slaughter. Just not for me, not interested. I can't even tell you what it's about because I can't remember. Then I DNF'd Circe by Madeline Miller. I did quite like Song of Achilles. I didn't rave about it like everyone else did, but I liked it, so I thought I'd give this one a go. I just couldn't get into it. It was a bit boring. Then I DNF'd How to Stop Time. Not a massive fan of Matt Haig. The other book that I read by him was the Secret Library or something like that. What was it called? Like the Midnight Library, that's what it was called. And its message was kind of iffy to me about like how it was dealing with people not wanting to be alive anymore. And the message that the book had, I thought was morally dubious. I thought it was portrayed in a weird way, if that makes sense. It was almost like do it and then you get to live all these different lives. Or I know the message was these are all the different lives you could have if you just lived your life, but the way it was presented, I didn't think brought that across. It brought it more of across of like, just do it and then you get to live this magical life. And yeah, so I tried to read this one. It's about like a man who's an immortal, and you just look at his life and it was boring. I immediately just was like, yeah, I can't bother to read any more of this. Then I'll be unhauling The Ash Princess, a fantasy novel about a kingdom that's been overtaken, and we follow the princess of that said taken over kingdom as she tries to survive in court because they still need her to win over the people, but the people are wanting to rebel, and it was just not sparking any like interest. It didn't really like stand out in any particular way, so I didn't finish it. Then I am unhauling Manhunter's Well by Gretchen Fletcher Martin. Yeah, Martin. I unhauled her previous novel, Cuckoo, in my other video, I think. I hate this author. She is so grotesque, so vulgar for the sake of it. Like, there's no purpose for the vulgarity in her books. You literally, when I talk about vulgar, I'm not like talking about a bit swearing, a bit sex. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like just in-depth talking about penises on every single page, about ball sacks being ripped open and eaten, and it was just, it was nonsensical. There was no reason for it. It was vulgar for the sake of being provoking, but it didn't have something to provoke, if that makes sense. Like, it was just unnecessarily crude. And it wasn't for me, and I would never read anything about this author again, because I had the same issue with her Cuckoo novel. It was so obsessed with talking about weight and people being overweight, meaning they were like pigs and stuff like that, and skinny people being evil. It was so obsessed with every single character's weight that I couldn't finish it. It was just obsessive, every single page. And with this one, it was that, but with penises and destroying them, and it was just, it was too much. Like, it had such a good premise, like a dystopian novel where men have gone stupid and people hunt them and stuff like that. But it just, I couldn't get past all just the constant teenage edgelord grotesqueness. It was unnecessary. It was stupid. What a waste of a book premise. Then I'll be unhauling The Rebel of the Sands and its subsequent book, Hero of the Fall. This one was initially quite interesting. It's like a desert fantasy. There's like gunslingers and stuff like that. But it just didn't, again, like Ash Princess didn't really stand out to me. And I was reading it and I just was losing interest. And I was like, why am I pushing myself through this when it's clearly not going to be a book that I rave about and love? Why finish it if it's just going to end up being a mediocre book that I'm going to unhaul in the future anyway? I may as well just DNF it now. And I did. Then I'll be DNFing Small Pleasures. Just started it and didn't vibe with it. I'll be getting rid of The Starless Sea. I got rid of her other book, The Night Circus, in my previous video, I think. And yeah, it's the same issue with that one. It was more vibes than plot. If that's your thing, read this, you'll have fun. But for me, I like to have like a plot as well as vibes. Or at least I'm a more a plot person, I guess. But yeah, nothing was happening. I found it really boring. Yeah, The Starless Sea, goodbye. Then the next book is Stranger Things Rebel Robin. This is kind of a spin-off novelization of A Day in the Life of Robin. And I realised that the interesting thing about Stranger Things is the Stranger Things. It's not just the ordinary day in the life of the characters. Like, Robin is one of the better characters. I think my favourite character is Max and then Robin. So you'd think, oh, it's a book about one of his favourite characters from the series, he's gonna love it. I didn't. It was boring. Robin didn't even feel like Robin, and I don't know whether that's just because it wasn't Maya Hawke's performance and it was an author trying to replicate that in a book, but I just didn't really feel the Robin vibes of it. And yeah, I didn't like it. It was boring. There was nothing happening. And then the last book that I'll be unhauling in this video, I am sad to unhaul, which is funny because the previous book by this author, I just hated. It was really boring and pretentious. Whereas this one I actually thought was going to be the one that I liked by them. And that is The Goldfinch by Donna Tarr. I tried to read The Secret History, hated it, thought it was pretentious and rubbish. Whereas with The Goldfinch, I really enjoyed the first half of this book. It's basically a novel about grief and overcoming grief as a child and then growing up into your adulthood. And it's this young boy, and he was involved in a terrorist attack, and his mum died, and he ended up stealing this goldfinch painting, and then that was kind of an expression of his grief as well, and not letting it go, and hiding this thing within him. It was a really good metaphor, and I really enjoyed it. Part of me wants to come back and finish it, because I got like halfway through. I got to the point where he went to live with his dad, and he made that Russian friend, and they were just in the room doing joints and just talking about life, and it just became very stagnant. Like, the first half of the book was very alive in the sense that it could be alive, R.I.P. mother, but just like him as a child and expressing his grief being passed on between different people to look after him. He's in New York, so we got a nice setting, and then he goes to live with his dad in Las Vegas, and it just becomes very stagnant and very boring. And yeah, I just completely lost interest and didn't want to finish it. But I might finish it in the future. I wanted to like this one, please. Please encourage me in the comments to read this book. But yeah, okay, so I am just jumping in really quickly before we round this off because I have 3 more books to get rid of. I ended up keeping 3. I've cut them out of the video, so everything in the video I've unhauled. But the 3 I kept, I cut out, and that made me short. It took me back down to 97. So I need this to be 100 just for my own satisfaction. So I've got 3 more books that I'm going to unhaul, and I'm just going to show you them quickly now. I have The Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Eric Hicks. This is a really cute like love story graphic novel. I'm getting rid of it because I've just got a signed copy from my friend, which you'll see in my next haul video. Then I'm going to be unhauling Catwoman by Sarah J Maas. I will have a video on this very soon, but I don't need the book anymore. I think we know why. But this is a signed copy, so hopefully I can sell this and get some money for it. And then the last book I'm going to be getting rid of, my 100th book that I'm going to be unhauling in this video, is The Magic Fish. Now this is like a queer graphic novel and it was really cute and I would definitely recommend it, but it's not one that particularly like struck me. Like it's all about like stories that he's been told by his mum, and you see the magic of the stories come to life, and I just can't really remember it that much from when I read it a couple of years ago, and it just doesn't hold any significance to me other than being like, oh, that was cute. So it's taken up shelf room that it doesn't need to take up. So yeah, I'm going to be getting rid of these 3 books to fill the gaps of the ones that I ended up keeping from this video. But yeah, that is 100 books got rid of. I'll let you get on to past me doing the roundup. Okay, bye. That is all 100 books. That is the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to this in the background whilst you did whatever you were doing. I hope that's going well. And if you are just watching this face to face, then I thank you for watching with your eyes. But no, I appreciate you being here. Leave a comment of like a pile of books in the comments if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. Hopefully not more unhauls, because I want to like read and keep some of these books. I don't want to keep unhauling things. But yeah, I think my unhaul videos are quite popular because everyone loves seeing a good declutter. So if you are new here, consider subscribing and sticking around and watching some of my other videos. I'll leave a couple links below. I do travel vlogs. I'm about to do another one. I'm going to Latvia. And yeah, so I do travel vlogs, I do book talks, I do book videos like independently on singular books. I'm currently working my way through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere universe. I've got videos about gay books that I'm going to be reading. Like I have a series that I'm wanting to really bulk up this year called If It's Gay, where I like pick a theme and then I read gay books around it. So there'll be a hockey one for when I want to read Heated Rivalry and try that out and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot on this channel, so please subscribe if you haven't. If you're already subscribed, love you. Let's stop rambling and get this video finished. Okay, see you in the next video, which might be a vlog, might be a book talk. I can't remember which one's going to come first. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you. Bye.